Welcome to my video review of the Continental Trail Attack 2 tires. I just got these tires. I'm suited up for about a 4,000 mile trip from Texas to Montana. Was looking for tires that could do both on-road and light off-roading. As far as I could tell, these were going to be the best bet for a heavy bike like mine. I also considered the Pirelli Scorpion EX tires, but the reviews I read said that they did not last very long on the heavy, powerful bikes. This is a liter bike, wet weight, damn near 500 pounds. This gas can is empty right now, but we could easily see 100 pounds of luggage. I've done about 100 miles on them so far. The tires, it's a little stiff. The carcass is stiff, just initial first 100 mile impressions. The guy that I had mount them also noted that they were stiff. So you feel the bumps. I've kind of increased on my suspension. I've increased the preload and decreased the damping and compression to kind of, preload is just ride height, and then damping and compression to kind of absorb some of the stiffness of the tires. But we'll see with the extra weight on there if that, I still feel the stiffness. Anyway, like I said, I'll be going about 4,000 miles in the heat, in the wet. Hopefully not in the ice and snow, but you never know up in the mountains. And doing a little bit of light dirt riding. So hopefully I'll be able to show you guys what you get out of these tires when you do 4,000 miles in 2 weeks over a variety of conditions. All right, I'll be back with some more impressions later on down the road.
So we're about 150 miles into the journey. Out here in kind of Podunk, West Texas. Driving over roads like this, so far I've noticed that it's really not as bumpy as it used to be. The modification, softening the suspension has really helped. The ride is stable. Let's see, I'll get up here and I'll take both hands off the bars, and we're keeping it pretty straight. So again, keeping a fine line, which on a lot of kind of adventure tires, dirt-oriented tires, take your hands off the bars, you get a little wobble. So that's nice, especially on this rough road surface. Earlier in the wet, they performed fine. I didn't really get too much exciting footage of that. So this is some bullshit, because I was just going in a straight line like this. But so far, so good on the Continental Trail Attack 2s. Hitting some Twisties up here outside of Los Alamos, New Mexico. Grip is good. I'll be able to check the chicken strips when I get to my campsite, but so far, I'm throwing the bike around as much as I feel comfortable with an extra 100 pounds of luggage on the back. Turn-in is quick, turn-in is light. Under braking, there's not really any chatter. I'll brake it pretty hard right here. No chatter, no wobbling. Just traction. And then power on out. I'm still getting used to the power curve of my bike at 6,000 or 7,000 feet, whatever we're at right now. A little less peppy. But so far, nothing but confidence. So we're getting some good, gravel road, fire road, whatever you want to call it, riding here. Let's get over here. It looks a little bit cleaner. This is definitely a pace that I would not be attempting on street tires, or purely street tires on this type of surface. But I've been on the surface like this for a little while now. Haven't had any cause for complaint. My rear steps out a few times, but that's what happens when you're on gravel. So, admirable performance here in the gravel from the Continental Trail Attack 2s. Continuing the Continental Trail Attack 2 tire review, do not take these tires into the sand. I was not expecting there to be as much sand as there was on the trail I went today. I dropped the bike 5 times. 2 on the way in, 3 on the way out, and it was terrible. I had very little traction. As you can see, my mirror is zip tied on. It's also possibly maybe super glued together. So we'll see how that pans out. Going too fat. Shit! Yeah, they were good on the hard parts, the clay, the gravel, but there were several sections of that trail where it was just sand, deep sand, and I had nothing. There was no hope. You can't go slow because you'll sink. You can't go fast because you don't have traction. What do? You wobble around and then you crash a lot. Anyway, this beautiful country out here, Continental National Park, Utah. Shame I couldn't get to see more of it because I spent half the day crashing my bike and half the day fixing it up. Alright, more later.
So, we're here at the halfway point of the Continental Trail Attack 2 tire review. It's actually a little bit more than halfway because my way home will be a little bit shorter than my way up here. According to my trip odometer, I have gone 2,400 miles. And that's off a little bit, somewhere between 5 and 10%, just because my gearing isn't stock and this tire is a little bit taller than it thinks it is. Tread life, got our trusty penny here. Tread life, still looking good. Still got quite a bit of Lincoln's head covered up, down the way, all the way to his ear, just about. It's starting to flatten out a little bit, but that's not unexpected given that I'm going down so many straight roads and I'm carrying, 80 plus pounds of luggage. Hoping to finally shed these chicken strips in South Dakota. I got rid of them in New Mexico, but then they came back in Utah going through the mud. Performance has been good on the Twisties in the dry. Hasn't really rained on me for me able to say too much about wet grip. Hasn't really been cold for me to say too much about cold grip. Which, I like as a rider, but for tire review purposes, not so good. But we still have a week left, so I'll be checking back in a few days to see how they did in the Black Hills in South Dakota. So, we're here in the Twisties.
Black Hills, South Dakota. Really gonna be putting these Trail Attack 2s to the test in terms of, once we get past this debris. In terms of sport grip, we're gonna have a lot of elevation change, as you can see. A lot of blind corners. It's gonna take a lot of confidence. But so far, I've had a lot of confidence in these tires. So I'm really looking forward to having an enjoyable ride. Get some good speed. Love those lean angles. Get rid of those chicken strips. Under acceleration, the rear is not squirmy. I did drop the pressures. We're looking at 34 in the front, 36 in the rear. That's a hot pressure. I did that after, riding my way to Mount Rushmore, which is beautiful. You should go visit it. Wow, this is a tight one. slip there. Very low speeds. But in general, I'm pretty satisfied with the sport performance of this tire. Once I get through this section, got about 20-30 miles of it. I'll look back and say, hey, here's what I thought could be good. Here's what I thought, or it was good. Here's what I thought could be better. Anyway, so far in the Twisties Trail Attack 2s, looking good. We're up here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Whoo! And, well, almost high-sided. Let's take it easy. I got enough video, I think. Holy crap. So, we're out of the Twisties. As you can see, chicken strips annihilated. Got myself a speeding ticket. That was nice. 65 out of 35. But so that'll give you an idea that you can comfortably exceed the speed limit on these tires. I'm just airing them back up here because anytime you air them down, air them back up, and I'm done with the twisty roads all the way back to Texas. So these are good, pretty good sport tires, all things considered. All right, be back with more later. So, final thoughts on the Continental Trail Attack 2. I've actually been back now for around 2 months, but I haven't put any more miles on the tire because right after I got back, I had a race weekend and I shattered 2 bones in my hand. So I haven't ridden since I've been back. So these tires are in the same state they were when I first got back 2 months ago. After 4,500 miles on the rear, you can see it's kind of squared off. It's definitely squared off. Is it terrible? No. Can I get another 1,000 or 2 miles out of it? Yes. And I plan to. If you look at the tread depth, starting, we're at Lincoln's hairline, let's put it that way. Very satisfied with the performance of these tires. In the wet, in the dry, for the type of riding that they're geared for, which is just basically adventure touring, you're gonna get what you're after. Confident handling, don't really slip under acceleration, don't really slip under braking. If you combine acceleration and braking with acceleration or braking with incline, that's when I started to see it getting upset. So if you're on the brakes when you're going downhill, if you're on the power when you're going uphill, there's not enough grip here to really get you what you're after. I mean, you can see earlier when I almost high-sided, that was on the power going uphill. But other than that, as long as you take that into account, you're going to do fine. Off-road, I did several different types of off-road. I did gravel roads. I did just dirt, kind of loose dirt. It was good in the gravel. It was good in the dirt. When I got to the sand, it sucked. But this tire is not made for sand. You need a 50-50 tire, really, to have any hope in the sand. And this is not. This is an 80-20 tire, on-road biased tire. We can go around to the front. Just check out the front. The front is not noticeably squared. And you can see it's still got a good round profile. If you do the old Lincoln test there, it's got a little bit more life than the rear. The treads initially on the front are not as deep as they are on the rear. But and this is a market adventure touring kind of tire that's on the way up. You can see a lot of new bikes kind of geared towards that.
You got the new FJ09 from Yamaha, which I might replace this bike with. Revisions to the Versys, Ducati Hyperstrada, Multistrada. That's an up-and-coming market. There's still not a lot of tires for it, but I would say this is the tire for it. If you've got a heavy bike, it's a 500-pound bike with, like I said, 80 pounds of luggage, give or take, and still handled well. Still, I had confidence. So Continental Trail Attack 2s, that's a thumbs up. If you're looking to plan a similar journey, buy these tires. All right, that's all from me. Have a good one.